Greetings, brothers and sisters, people of St. Paul's Church. To put it mildly, this has been a strange 2 months. The rhythms of our life here at St. Paul's have changed dramatically. We are no longer gathering together in person for worship and formation, but we have moved our congregational life online. We worship in a virtual community. We gather together on Zoom for formation activities and fellowship. It has been a strange time. And no doubt you are wondering, when will we be able to return to the way things were? When will normality resume? Recently, our bishop, Bishop Goth, sent us a communication that she did in conjunction with two other bishops, the bishops of Maryland and of Washington, D.C. And in this communication, they lay out a plan for phased regathering together in person. So we will not return to exactly how things were before this pandemic overnight, but there will be a gradual process of returning to normality. And I wanted to go through these phases with you to make sure you knew what the bishop is directing us to plan for in the coming months. The bishop lays out 4 phases. The first phase is the phase that we are in now. This is the phase where we are gathering together as a community online, virtually. The second phase is one where we can have limited gatherings, maybe 50 people or less. And when we would gather together, we would have to follow certain safety protocols, wearing a face mask, for instance, standing a certain distance away from one another. We are not in phase 2 yet, but phase 2 will hopefully come soon. It will be tied to certain public health indicators. Phase 2 will happen when we have 14 consecutive days of declines in hospitalizations and in deaths, when there is widespread testing and contact tracing, and when there is a sufficient supply of personal protective equipment. That's when phase 2 will happen. Any sort of plan we have for bringing people back together during phase 2 will also have to be approved by the bishop. Phase 3 will be a greater expansion of the number of people that can gather together on the church grounds. We will be able to do worship outside, worship perhaps in the sanctuary, but we will need to have certain safety restrictions still in place, maybe the wearing of masks, distancing between people in the pews, and so on. Phase 3 will happen when we reach these public health indicators. COVID-19 cases, hospitalizations, and deaths have fallen to near zero or dramatically fallen. Widespread testing and tracking, and our healthcare system is equipped to respond to any medical needs regarding COVID-19. That will be phase 3. Phase 4 is when we return to in-person gatherings the way they were before this pandemic. That is to say, we can have unlimited gatherings and numbers of people at events, classes can resume, fellowship can resume, and so on. This phase 4, will be tied to these public health indicators. A vaccine has been developed and is available to all in the general public. Treatment of proven effectiveness is widely available. Testing is widespread in the community. That's phase 4. I think it's clear from what I've said that we will not be returning to the way things were in a couple weeks. It's going to take time. We are called in this season to be patient. I don't know when we will get to phase 4. But here's what I do know. I do know that we are in the wilderness phase now. And as we walk through this wilderness phase, God is with us. Remember, brothers and sisters, we are a people of hope. We are not a people who despair. We are a people who know that God is with us and God is bringing us into something greater, bringing us into new life. I don't know what that new life will look like exactly here at St. Paul's when we get to phase 4. I don't know when that will happen, but I do know we will get there. I know that we will get out of this wilderness phase, and I know that God will be with us all the while. If you have any questions about this phased regathering, feel free to contact me or one of the clergy. May God bless you. May God bless our congregation as we move forward in faith and in hope.